Good evening. Today we're going to do something just a little something different here on This Week in Linux. It's a little segment I like to call Ask TWIL. Now, Ask TWIL is something that I have not done for probably a year now, maybe even longer. Basically, the premise behind it is you ask me a question somewhere, Twitter, Facebook, my website, my forum, on the comment section here on YouTube, the comment section on Blip, if I can ever get it to notify me, or even on Tumblr. I just created a Tumblr earlier today, which I will have in the links down below the video. You ask me a question there, and I will do my best to answer it in a video, and I'll mention your name and all that fun stuff. So, the question that I got today that I thought was kind of interesting was from Jet the 159, and I hope I did pronounce that correctly, though I probably did not. The question he asked was, what do I think the best desktop Linux distribution is, and what is my favorite desktop Linux distribution? I guess he assumes that I don't think those are the same things. In terms of the best desktop Linux distribution, my answer to that is the same as it's always been. The best Linux distribution for anyone is the one that has the software they need, that works with their hardware, and allows them to accomplish their goals. That may not necessarily be Linux, that may not be Windows, it may be Mac, it may be whatever, but it all depends on what you need, what software and hardware you need and you have, and you know what I'm getting at there. There is no one answer for everyone. Now that said, there are some distributions that are a little more prolific in my experience. Ubuntu has a lot of popularity, has a huge amount of software available for it. It's got a lot of development going into it. So it is a very good distro to go to. Has a large user base behind it. It has, like I said, a lot of development. And of course, it is very new user friendly. So that's one way to go. Linux Mint, being based off of that, is another awesome alternative. It doesn't have the Unity interface on it. It's got the tried and true GNOME 2.32 interface that everybody's accustomed to, so that's another one you could also try. For a brand new user, I definitely would not recommend a distro like I use, which is Arch Linux, or Fedora, or maybe even OpenSUSE, just because in most cases those are just more difficult. I've heard a lot of good things about OpenSUSE, but my experience with it was definitely not a pleasant one. Now, my distro of choice is, and has been for about a year now, Arch Linux. Basically, what that offers is a very simple desktop. You get only what you ask for, nothing more, nothing less. There are people that argue about that, but I don't care. And with the Arch user repository, you can get a huge amount of software very, very quickly. So you get rolling release distribution that is constantly up to date. I think it's actually running kernel version 2.639 right now and should have 3.0 hopefully in the very near future. You get, like I said, the up-to-date software. You get a wide variety of software if you incorporate the Arch user repository, and it just works very well for me, so I can't complain about that. That is my distro of choice. As far as the desktop environment on top of it, I am a GNOME user and have been for a long time. I'm actually using GNOME 3, which you cannot see because the monitor in the background turned off. I've got it in fallback mode though because the NVIDIA drivers just don't play terribly well with GNOME 3. I've been thinking about trying out XFCE, but just have not spent enough time down here on my Arch desktop to really worry about it. So the fallback mode for GNOME 3 works very well for me for the time being. So Jat the 159, I hope that answers your question. That was a lot more long-winded than I expected it to be. If you would like to see your question answered here on Ask TWIL sometime next week, definitely leave it on Twitter or Facebook or the website or Tumblr or wherever else you think you can get in touch with me, and I will see what I can do. I mean, I'm not going to be able to answer every single one, obviously, but if there's one that I think would make a good video, I will definitely see what I can do. As always, though, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for your continued support, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.